Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz Interview Series with UK jazz bassist Nick Blacka of the Modern Band GoGo Penguin. They just released a new EP, 2019's Ocean and a Drop, Music for Film. And the band came together in 2012, and they all had rich musical backgrounds. Their first album, 2014's V 2.0, was a Mercury Prize Album of the Year. In 2015, they were signed to Blue Note Records, and today they are rocketing through the jazz stratosphere. Joining Nick is Chris Illingworth on piano and Rob Turner on the drums, creating a unique sound that is acoustic-electronica, drawing on rock, jazz, minimalism, computer game soundtracks, and glitchy-electronica to create their overall vibe. And in case you were wondering about the name, this is how it came about. A few of the guys got drunk at a Rag Week auction, and Pete picked up a weird-looking stuffed animal that was a penguin. His girlfriend was terrified of it and wouldn't have it in the house, so Grant put it in his house. After they got their first gig at the Sandbar in Manchester, they desperately needed a name, so they started throwing ideas about, and the Penguin telepathically gave them the solution. Penguin, then GoPenguin, and eventually GoGoPenguin. So please get to know this band, Nick, and dig this interview, my friends.
Hey, Nick, this is an immense pleasure and honor to speak with you on behalf of GoGo Penguin. Thank you for taking some time out today. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Good to talk to you, too.
Right on. So let's go ahead and start off with your latest album, Ocean and a Drop. And I want to know, what is the vision? What is the vision for this new album for you guys?
It's actually an EP, so it's 5 tracks rather than an album. But the music comes from, we did a score for a movie called Koyana Scatzi, which it was released in 1981, I think, and it has a score of its own, an original score by Philip Glass. We ended up doing a rescore for a project in Manchester where we performed live with the movie itself. And so these tracks are taken from ideas that we had for that movie score, but adapted. We just decided to record the ones that sort of stood up on their own without the images.
So you guys come together, you're Manchester-based in 2012. How did you all come together with this band? How did it happen?
Well, we've all played together for a number of years before GoGo Penguin, but this was the first time the three of us ever played together, and it kind of worked. So I used to be in a different trio with Chris, the piano player. So it was a Chris Illingworth trio, and it was me, him, and a different drummer. I've known Rob, the drummer, for countless years now, and we've done so many bands together that we've played a lot together. And then it was actually Chris and Rob that got together at the beginning of GoGo Penguin with a different bass player, and that was the original lineup. And let's just say it didn't work out, so those guys asked me to come on board, and then we've been, going forwards ever since, really. But we all just met on the Manchester music scene, playing in different bands as you do, trying to pick up gigs and whatever. And then when we got together, it just it all worked, and we thought, this is it now.
In 2014, version 2.0 was named the Mercury Prize Album of the Year. Then you get signed to Blue Note. You guys have just been on this explosive track of being one of the top bands in the world of jazz for so long. Has this success been surprising? Did you expect it? How are you guys dealing with the fact that you're one of the biggest acts in jazz today?
I still don't really recognize that as a thing, but if you say we are, then that's cool. Yeah, I guess it is surprising because especially a band from Manchester in the north of England, sort of, coming out to places like the US, it's still quite a big thing for us that people actually know who we are and, care about what we're doing and stuff. It was a surprise. I mean, when we got the band together and we made V 2.0, and we knew that we were doing something that we were all proud of and that we liked the music, and we kind of hoped other people would get on board. Unfortunately, the leader did, but I don't think we thought it'd get to this point. There's been a few sort of little markers of things that's happened along the way where you think, wow, I didn't think we'd do this, like playing at the Royal Albert Hall or something like that, for example. It's just like, wow, things are going well.
The one thing that I've always noticed about you UK cats is that you were always so good at pushing the proverbial sound envelope. It's almost like you've gone into this, you bled into this genre of electronica. You have jazz elements. You have such a unique sound, and I hear this from you UK cats so much. What is it about your environment, your country, where you come from? I mean, I think of the Beatles. I think of Bowie. Think about so many exports that come from the UK, and you guys continue to come up with such fresh, innovative, like genre-pushing vibes with what you give us, especially with what we hear in America. How does this happen? Are you cognizant of this being kind of something that's real? I mean, how do you process that?
Well, in Manchester particularly, where we're all based, it's never really been a big issue. You just sort of, whatever you're into, there's such a melting pot of styles within that city. And I think it's most famous sort of internationally for like a lot of the guitar bands, you know, bands like Oasis or, you know, Joy Division or whatever. But there's so much going on there and so many different styles. And within the city, everybody, it's not too big that people know each other in the music scene. So, you know, we've got friends who are in bands that are totally different to us, but we, you know, respect them and they're our friends, they're our peers, you know, and they might be making electronica or folk or hip-hop or whatever, and we've all been involved in, I don't think we all came from maybe a traditional jazz background when we were kids. I started listening to like indie rock and then sort of got into funk and hip-hop and then found my way into jazz. So it's just a case of taking all the things that you like and different sounds that inspire you, and why can't you put them together, you know? If that's what you like, why can't you make it a thing, rather than just being like, I'm a jazz musician, I'm going to try and, you know, play like Miles Davis and nothing else, or whoever, you know? It's just like, why can't we take this beat that we like from this electronica tune and put it into this with this classical piano? It kind of works.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and if I could come up with a dream sound, because I love, obviously, having my jazz show, I love electronic music. I just love the amalgamation of what you're doing. My question to you is this. When I think about jazz, and I talk to a lot of jazz musicians, and everyone's happy, everyone's cool with what they're doing, no matter how much money they make or whatever they're doing, but there's still this kind of undercurrent of, you know, people aren't coming out as much as they should, units aren't selling enough. But when I look at you guys and what you've done and the way you've blended sounds and the way you are and how successful you are, do you ever see your band and what you guys are doing as kind of the future of where jazz can go so that musicians can get what they should be getting as artists?
I haven't really thought about it. We haven't really had a lot of time to think about many things about the way the band is perceived. You know, we started doing it, and then, like you say, it's kind of blown up from there. But it's difficult to know exactly what other people think about what we're doing. But was your question kind of like bringing in an accessibility, or you just tell me what you were meaning again?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I kind of mashed up a lot of things in there. I guess what I'm thinking about is just the future and the sound of jazz. I guess I should rephrase it like this. How do you see the health of jazz in 2019? Do you see it as a healthy organism?
Yeah, definitely at the moment. I mean, there's quite a lot of crossover things going on, you know, like ourselves and, you know, a lot of other bands, especially in the UK. So they seem to be getting quite a lot of attention. And I think it's a good thing, you know, especially for younger listeners. They kind of often need a way into jazz. It's quite rare for people to just sort of, you know, grow up listening to, you know, whatever, Duke Ellington or something. I mean, even for me, I kind of, like I said earlier, I found my way into like jazz through a lot of the samples in hip-hop or funk music or, you know, electronica crossover stuff. And then I wanted to know more about the original source and then kind of went there. So if we do that for somebody younger, then I think it's a good thing, because then it opens up a world that maybe they don't know about.
What was one of the first jazz shows that you saw that really motivated you and blew your doors down?
That's a good question. One of my sort of big inspirations I didn't know too much about jazz, and it came from teachers that I had. You know, I had bass teachers when I was like 16, and they played the upright, and they, you know, like were inspiring to me about what they did. So we were seeing a lot of local bands and just getting to hear these sounds. One of the first ones I saw, I remember I saw the bass player Avishai Cohen play in the north of England in a cricket club, and that was really inspirational to me because he had like Mark Juliana on drums, and I just thought, this is incredible. So maybe that.
Yeah, absolutely, he is incredible. So if you could get into a time machine and you could fly to America during the heyday of jazz and get dropped off and see a show, who would you want to see?
Wow, there's so many, really. I mean, as a bass player, I want to say like Mingus or Oscar Pettibon, but I don't know. I think seeing like Charlie Parker and Dizzy Gillespie in their heyday in those clubs in New York or wherever would probably be pretty sensational.
You guys, GoGoPenguin comes to Kansas City. You have to write up, or you have to like explain to somebody prior to the show, like what would a listener get from one of your shows? What would the experience of GoGoPenguin be like for them that would make them want to come and see you? How would you describe that?
Just music, really. Don't come with any expectations of anything. Don't come thinking, oh, it's going to be a jazz show, or it's going to be this kind of a show. Just come and listen and try and base the music on the sounds and whether you get any emotion from it, and that's what we're trying to do. So, you know, as long as it makes you feel something, even if you hate it, you know, that's kind of better than just being like lukewarm to it. You know, like obviously we want people to like it, but you know, just come and try, be open-minded and try and listen and get some emotional content from it.
So this is my final question. Everyone has a perception of you as a band. I've already described what my perception is. Your family, your friends, everyone has this idea of who they think you are, but you guys know who you are. That minute before you go on stage, when you guys meet and practice, when you record an album, who is GoGoPenguin? What's your perception of who you are as a band?
Oh, I don't know. It's a tough question. We're just three individuals, three very different people trying to make this one sound together. And as long as we like it and we're sort of happy about what we're doing, that's the most important thing. Just trying to be ourselves, but within the context of this slightly larger thing, which is the group. Sorry, I know that's not a very good answer, but it's a difficult question.
No, it is. It is, and that's a great answer. And I just want to piggyback one more thing off of that. Since 2012, you guys have done so many wonderful albums. You've had a meteoric rise. What do you guys see your future as? Do you see you guys just continuing doing what you're doing? Are there things that are on the horizon? How do you guys see your evolution or your growth as a band as the future expands forward?
Yeah, we want to keep doing what we're doing, really. It's great making albums and to keep touring and seeing places. We've just recorded the next album, so like literally 2 weeks ago we finished doing that. And that's going to be out sometime next year, probably spring. I don't know when exactly. We feel like it's a step forward for us, and we're all really happy with what we've done. So we're just trying to keep improving or keep developing in the way that we see as the right way. And, you know, if other projects come up, I think the guys in the band are pretty keen to maybe see if anything comes up, like a movie score or something, but it's not something that we're hinging all our hopes on. It's like we like being in this band, and we like making albums and touring around the world. So as long as that can continue, I think we're all very happy.
Well, I can tell you right now, as fans and radio hosts, we are exceedingly happy and always looking forward to what you put out. Nick, thank you for the music. Thank you for your time today. It's been a gift, and I say it's been a gift because it just so happens I rarely do interviews on the weekend. Today is my birthday, so I think you've probably given me one of the best gifts you could have given me to have an opportunity to talk to you and kind of figure out how GoGoPenguin does what they do.
Oh, well, thank you, and happy birthday.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest groups and cats in the United Kingdom, Kansas City, and spots all over the globe, giving fans all that jazz. And thanks to Nick on behalf of GoGoPenguin for his time, music, and stories. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino on the iTunes Store. Visit neonjazz at youtube.com, and for everything Neon Jazz all the time, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.